During the Normandy landings, you had a successful landing and you made your way onto a bitterly contested area known as Hill 112. What was that like? Can you talk us through what you and your regiment were having to face when you landed?
Rommel said, whoever holds 112 holds Normandy. And if you go up there, you can see for miles in all directions. So you would see tank movements, you would see troop movements and so on. That's why 112 was so important. And our divs, the 43rd Div, were given the job of capturing it. We were out on, I didn't even get onto Hill 112. That battle started on the 10th, on the Monday, but on the Friday night we went out on a night patrol to do a job, our platoon, and that's the point where I got captured.
You were captured by the Nazis. You were taken to Poland and put to work in a coal mine, and the Russian troops were approaching. The prisoners of war by the Nazis were then marched out, told that you're going to a new location.
Yes.
And that started what was dubbed the Long March, a 1,000-mile walk,
yes,
involving you and 80,000 other prisoners. Many didn't survive this.
That's right. We saw bodies on the side of the road because it was bitter weather when we started, 23rd of January, and our coal mine was just out northwest of Katowice, and we marched the first day all day and all night, and we were slipping. It's not marching as left, right, left, right. It's slipping and sliding on the snow and the ice and so on, bitterly cold. We did get to a camp where it was a sugar factory, but then they moved us out and put us in grain silos for a day. And then they said, right, we're moving next day to another. And that went on for 3 months, all but 2 days. We finished on the 20th of April. We refused to march. We went to sleep in a barn in Michaelsneukölln, as it turned out to be. We didn't know, we were just in a wood, a forest. At night, we could hear gunfire way for the west, and the odd machine gun. And we knew that it had to be Brits or Americans. The German officer said, all right, but we said, we're not marching anymore. He said, we'll have a rest day, we'll march tomorrow. Yeah, we'll march tomorrow. But that night, the stuff was much closer, and he recognised that the Krieg was war was finished. And so we waited, that was Friday or Saturday, and on the Sunday, 2 American tanks turned up.
Yeah, you were liberated by the US troops. Can you describe that moment to us after what you've been through?
Can I recall that moment? Yeah. Very much so, because somebody yelled out. We were up in the barns again. I think it was a lovely day, and it was the 22nd of April, a Sunday, and somebody yelled out, "Here's some tanks." So they all went running. I was on a walking stick at the time, so I went limping on behind. They were throwing out packets of cigarettes and bars of chocolate and so on. And I think one sort of took pity on Tiny Tim coming on behind, as it were, because he went like that, and he reached in, and it was a packet about that size, and he just threw it, and I caught it, and it said Wrigley's. And I thought, just my luck. I'm starving, and all I get is bloody chewing gum. I opened it up and reached in and pulled something out and stuffed it in my mouth, not really looking. And it wasn't chewing gum, it was chewing tobacco. I have never tasted anything so foul in my life.
You talk now to children in schools. Why is it so important for you to share your stories with them?
Well, somebody coined a phrase, living history, and we are it, and we're a dying breed, of course. We're all in the queue, and we're up the front of this queue. When I was a kid learning history, it was the Greeks and the Romans, and there's 1 or 2 names stick, like Leonidas and Thermopylae and that sort of thing.
It was all out of big, heavy textbooks.
Yeah, but we don't even know who won, you know, who was playing at home, who was playing away, or where it was happening. Here, some of these kids, their granddad or their great-granddad was in it. They haven't had a chance to speak to them, and they've passed on now. But here's a guy who was the same age as their granddad.
Well, you asked them to call you Grandad Ken so they can relate and they understand where they are in...
Yeah. I wanted each one to write to me, to say what they liked about my talk, what bit they didn't like, and what they want to be when they grow up. And I've got all these letters.
Well, I've got some of them here, and you've got...
Oh, you have got
You've
some.
got rave reviews, Ken, just picking out some. I mean, they talk to you about what they find really interesting. There's a child here that talks about the song Silent Night, because, of course, there are so many traditions, whether it be songs or sayings or stories from World War II, that the next generation don't know are linked.
That's
so
right.
What was the story you told them about Silent Night?
Well, it was Christmas Eve, and unfortunately, although I was on the day shift, I don't know why, but I got involved in going down on the Christmas Eve night. You know, I was just thinking about home. I wonder if midnight mass had started again because it was stopped during the war and the Blitz. I wonder if the folks had gone, and I found myself singing Silent Night. And the little man said, "Tommy, that is good music." So I said, "Yeah, it's good music." "Tommy, that is Deutsch music, German music." So, "Yeah, it's Deutsch music." And he started singing. Now, I found out later he was 72, so he was rather falsetto, and I thought I was the second Bing Crosby, so we did a duet down there of Silent Night. With that, when we finished, "Tommy, sit." Now, we're used to blowing down the coal, and the miner goes and sits and has his sandwiches, and we carry on working and resent every mouthful. This time I got to sit and watch him eat. No. He came out with they cut the bread through that way. He had two long sandwiches, and he gave me one. Later, then when we finished the shift, we went to sleep. Then we woke up, and Christmas lunch was a piece of bread and so on, nothing. We might have had a spoonful of ersatz jam or something, I don't know, I can't remember. But we had 3 rooms, had a lidded dustbin for the nights we were locked in. As it happened, I was the last one down. I went down, and it was dark. It was about 4 o'clock, and I came out from the loo, and I heard, and I stopped, and I can hear it now. Away in the miners' hall, children's voices singing, and it had to be Silent Night, or Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, as they have it. And I just stood there and thought about home. And I have to confess, I stood there and cried. Because we were leaving the shore, then we'd never get home, you know. And it was a long way away.
And just finally, because our time together is coming to a close, Ken, and I've loved talking to you, but one of the letters from a little boy called Ewan, who you spoke to, said he was incredibly heartwarmed by your poem and your experience in the war. It was amazing to hear you read the poem. It made me feel calm, peaceful, and proud of everything you have done for us. I wonder if, just to close out our conversation together, Ken, you would mind reading some of that poem, and it's an extract from a poem that you've written called As I Look Back, and it particularly plays to your effort in maintaining the memorials to those that we lost in the war.
Yeah, well, I'm very, very keen on the memorial, because, and now having this education centre so that the children can visit and so on, because if you have the contact with children like I've had going to schools, you can see what it means to them. And I do hope that they rustle up the funds in England to get over there and see them. This poem was written eventually to be given, and I did deliver it in Bayeux Cemetery. And just one verse of it says, "With memories I come each year, and often shed a tear, to understand that I came home to live another year. I still can see each passing day the friends I left behind, the price they paid, I nearly paid, is clearly brought to mind."